defense for Sugarboy Malinga against Vincenzo Nardiello, with the winner to fight Collins or Ben. That's the theory anyway. Malinga's 36, 6 years older. He's slightly the taller man. Both of them inside the 12-stone limit comfortably enough. Slight reach advantage for Nardiello. Malinga with 50 fights behind him, Nardiello 34. They've both got bags of championship experience. Malinga, not usually a big puncher, normally goes the distance, hence those 327 rounds. Higher knockout percentage for Nardiello down at the bottom there. No 3 knockdown rule in effect here. There will be the mandatory 8 count, and the rest of it pretty standard, the WBC rules.
Ladies and gentlemen, the officials appointed to this contest, appointed by the Boxing Council, President Jose Solomon, are the supervisor, Mr. John Alate Kofi of Ghana, the British Boxing Board supervisor, Mr. John Morris, and the steward in charge this evening, Mr. Dennis Lockton. The judges at ringside, appointed by the WBC, Mr. Roger Kreitz of Luxembourg, Mr. John Keane of Northampton, and Mr. Miguel Acuna of Mexico. The timekeeper, Mr. Colin Roberts of Halifax, and the referee is Mr. Mickey Van of Leeds. Ladies and gentlemen, promoted by Breakwater Sports Network in association with tonight's sponsors, Beamish Stout, who are proud to present a contest of 12 3 rounds to decide the WBC Super Middleweight Championship of the world. Between introducing the boxers, and firstly, fighting from the red corner, coming from Rome, Italy, wearing the red and black trunks, he holds a professional record from 34 contests of 29 wins, 17 by way of KO with 5 losses. He weighed in at 11 stone, 13 pounds, and comes to the ring as the former 2 times European Super Middleweight champion in his 3rd world title challenge this evening. The challenger for the title, Vincenzo Nynex. And across the ring, ladies and gentlemen, in the blue corner, coming from Johannesburg in South Africa, wearing the white trunks with the green rim, his professional record reads 50 contests, 41 wins, 17 by way of KO with 9 losses, and he scaled 11 stone, 11 3/4 pounds, and comes to the ring tonight as the current WBC Super Middleweight champion of the world, making the first defense of his title tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, to me, Sugarboy Malinga. Ladies and gentlemen, the referee, Mr. Mickey Van, will now give his instructions to both boxers.
And Sugarboy Malinga trying to win friends and influence people around here by wearing a Manchester United shirt. Mind you, they won't forgive him for wearing Eric Cantona's number 7, and I'm not sure what the Manchester City fans will make of it, but that's another story.
I think the Newcastle fans will have forgot about him now that he's changed sides so dramatically.
He had a black and white
That's right, he was right.
Yes, right, yes. And he won wearing a football shirt up there. Mickey Van is the referee for this one. Both of these two have recently fought Nigel Benn. Malinga beat Ben, Nardiello lost to Ben, but it doesn't necessarily follow that Malinga will beat Nardiello. Though he does start as the favourite here, 15-8 on Malinga with the bookmakers. Nardiello you can get 7-4 against to win this title tonight. Not been a world champion yet, Nardiello. He's the one in the black trunks. Malinga, the 36-year-old South African who boxed so very, very sweetly and coolly to outclass Ben and win running away with the title, though one judge actually thought Ben had won and has since been carpeted for that by the Nevada State Athletic Commission. Disgraceful piece of scoring, but that's another story. Malinga was very impressive, but This is a different style he's up against here. A southpaw, an awkward southpaw, who won't charge in at him the way Ben did.
That's right, who's a good boxer and who will wait his time and is quite a sharp and accurate puncher.
Malinga shaking his head to Nardiello as that left hand landed as if to say not hurt. Just whip in those left hands from quite unusual angles sometimes, Nardiello. Against Ben, Nardiello seemed to be in the fight for about 6 rounds and was making life fairly awkward for Ben, but then he just seemed to fall apart and lose heart, and he was on the floor and giving out all kinds of distress signals, and it was quickly over after that. Does he really believe he can win this? That may be a key issue here.
I think Nardiello will be a lot more confident than when he fought Ben, because he knows Ben was a bigger puncher than Malinga. So he'll feel that Malinga hasn't really got the punch to bother him, so he might be a lot more aggressive in this fight.
Nardiello, a former policeman who comes from Ostia near Rome. So he was born in Germany, where his father worked in a Porsche factory. Due to go 12 rounds. Have been times in the past where Malinga has looked negative, over-cautious, lacking a bit of zest. Certainly didn't against Ben, but the styles, as we've made the point already, are very different with this one.
Malinga just trying to pour out that jab, but Nardiello just a little quicker with his and just countering over the top of Malinga's jab.
Trying to whip in those left hands, but Malinga, who is extremely durable, getting his gloves up well. Only one man has ever stopped Sugarboy Malinga, and that was the brilliant Roy Jones. End of a quietish opening round. Good left hand from Nardiello, who, for my money, has done just the better work in the round. Welcome back to the Nynex Arena, the splendid Nynex Arena in Manchester, which is just about full, with about 21,000 fans tonight. It's really gone down very well here, this big fight. Nigel Benn against Steve Collins. That's still to come, but we've got another world title fight in the ring for you before that. Same weight, but this is the WBC version of the Super Middleweight Championship. The champion, Sugarboy Malinga, in the multicolored shorts from South Africa, up against the Italian challenger Vincenzo Nardiello.
Malinga going to have to do a little bit more. He's got to get into distance against his awkward southpaw. Nardiello very quick, very accurate, and I think he's going to try and box and make Malinga come to him and make Malinga make mistakes.
Be a cagey sort of battle, with the styles possibly not mixing too happily. We shall see. So far it's been a battle really of the southpaw jab of Nardiello against the orthodox jab of Malinga, but he's finding hard to get that punch away really this time. And then those left hands whipped in by Nardiello every so often.
It's often difficult beating a southpaw to the jab for an orthodox fighter. What needs to come into play for Malinga is the right hand. He's got to throw that long and often at Nardiello.
I think Malinga rather hoped he'd be pitched straight in with Steve Collins. in a unification fight for big money, but he has this kind of semi-final fight with the promise, or so we're told anyway, if he wins it, going on to fight Collins or Ben.
A very negative round here, with neither man really trying to have any authority, just picking with the jabs, trying to find a way through.
Again, Nardiello coming in with those left hands. Malinga not really able to pick those up. Gets through again with it as well. He's having trouble with this style, Malinga. Totally different fight from the one he had with Ben. We knew it would be.
Good work from Nardiello, just keeping out, popping in and out of range there. Malinga unable to get to him.
Malinga, the South African with the penchant for football, fast cars and fashion, not to mention being a world champion. That status could be under some threat here, the way this has started. Good left hand got through from Malinga, but back comes Nardiello. He covers up well, does Malinga. Not a bad fighter, this Vincenzo Nardiello. Welcome back to the Nynex Arena. Vincenzo Nardiello doing the better work so far. I think better is a comparative word. It's not been great.
It's not good work, and the styles are not gelling well together. Nardiello just a little quicker, a little sharper, just getting to Malinga with nothing really of any substance. But Malinga he's out of distance. He can't get his jabs on. He needs to get his rhythm more and start pushing Nardiello a bit.
Good bet this, that it'll go the full 12-round distance. Third round. The WBC Super Middleweight Championship. All Nardiello's defeats, mind you, have come by stoppage. A couple of them on cuts. He's lost to Victor Cordoba in a world title fight, to Ray Close, the Irish boxer, on cuts. Frederick Sellier, the Frenchman, when he seemed to quit. Ben's defeat, and Henry Wharton, who he had on the floor, but then was beaten on a cut.
But he has got a suspect temperament, Nardiello. He does seem to quit. If the pressure's on, he quit against Ben in a way. He just kept going down, complaining he was slipping, but then was going down, on one knee. It was a really bizarre evening. So I think Malinga needs to pressure this man. He can't give him the room to get his punches off.
Neither of them finding it very easy to land with anything too clean at the moment. Although Malinga does get through almost for the first time with his right hand. And that was such a good weapon for him against Ben. Malinga has lost 9 times in his 50-fight career, usually against pretty good fighters. People like Eubank, Ben when he fought in the first time, though that was very controversial. Graziano Rocchigiani, Lindo Holmes, a couple of times against Saki Horn. He's had about 16 South African title fights. Been around a long time. Great man to talk to. Real ambassador for the sport, but that isn't going to help him in here.
But again, there's very little quality work being done here. Nardiello just skipping around the ring, in and out of range, just trying to flick away with that jab and pick up some points. Malinga just really can't get himself going. Just finding it very difficult against this awkward southpaw.
Nardiello's left hand only hit the gloves there of Malinga. A little bit of damage just underneath the right eye of Nardiello, just a little nick, nothing more than that. As you've heard, he had cuts damage before. Bell goes to end the round, and Sugarboy Malinga's having his problems here. We have a celebrity sprinkled audience here, star sprinkled audience. Liam Gallagher of Oasis and Patsy Kansit are here. He won't have liked Sugarboy Malinga wearing a Manchester United shirt. Carl Fogarty, the world superbike champion from Blackburn. And Prince Nassim Hamid, who needs no introduction to you, I'm sure. And from the Super League, Martin O'Fire, the great rugby league star. There are others here. They all want to be here tonight, and there's a bit of electricity in the air on a big fight night like this. And still to come, Ben against Collins, which has the potential of being a real thriller. This is the fourth round. It's got to get better, hasn't it, Glenn?
I think it did. I certainly outscored the third round, a no-score draw, because there was very little points being scored there. Neither man really trying to push the fight.
Of course, what we'd really like to see in this division sometime is the IBF champion Roy Jones over here fighting one of the home-based stars. That would be a bit of fun, wouldn't it? Maybe not for the person facing him, but the rest of us would probably enjoy it.
That's right. Well, it's sad that we're not getting the chance to see Roy Jones in the big fight. He really is a talent.
Nardiello is working behind that right hand of his. 17 of his 29 wins have come inside schedule. Nardiello, he's not noted as a sledgehammer puncher or anything like it. Sharp, but not much more than that.
Malinga finds it very difficult when he's having to go searching for somebody. He's the sort of fighter, he likes somebody to come to him where he can counter, use his boxing skills.
Good work with the left hand by Nardiello. Southpaws have this, of course, to their advantage, that some fighters find it very, very hard to cope with them. And Malinga might be one of them. I think Malinga's fought any southpaws of real world class before, just having a quick browse through his record. Nardiello's growing in confidence.
He is. He's starting to get his punches off. Not a great deal of power in them, but he's certainly working the harder. He's giving a few angles. He's letting little clusters of punches go.
Malinga's trying to get his right hand into play, but with not much success, it has to be said, at the moment. Kind of lunging forward as well, as he doesn't look too well balanced, and even his jab hasn't got that ramrod quality it had against Ben.
Yes, there's no smoothness to Malinga's work. He's having to stretch and reach for punches, and he's getting a little bit off balance, and I think he's not enjoying this at all.
He must have known it might be a bit like this. I mean, there's plenty of video evidence around about Nardiello. That's better from Malinga. Sharp right hand from him there. But to me, Nardiello again probably just nicked the round. Welcome back to the Nynex Arena. This is the scene backstage in the dressing room of the Celtic Warrior, Steve Collins, defending his WBO super middleweight title tonight against Nigel Benn. He's got the old shamrock shaved in his hair. He becomes a completely different man, this fella, doesn't he, when he gets near a fight?
He really does. He really becomes very, very focused. It's just everything in his life, the fight, and he does it very well. He's really intense.
Meanwhile, live in the ring, the WBC version of the super middleweight title being contested by champion Sugarboy Malinga, who's finding it extremely hard to shine here against the Italian Vincenzo Nardiello, who's not doing an awful lot more, but may just have nicked 3 of the 4 rounds we've had so far, though it's arguable because, frankly, not an awful lot has been happening. We live in hope. Round 5.
As you see, he's just poking out that jab. He's not really trying to get the extra distance to reach Malinga. It's a poor jab from Malinga. He needs to step in quicker and harder and get to Nardiello a lot quicker.
And the referee might get a bit unhappy in a moment the way the protector of Malinga is beginning to ride up and protect his body a little. It's either that or the shorts are slipping down. I wish Mickey Van might notice that. Marvin Hagler used to try that trick a few times and got called up for it.
Again, he lunges with the right hand and misses Malinga. But there's not a great deal coming from Nardiello as well. It's a very quiet fight. Nardiello just doing slightly more.
He's got to try and get this Nardiello under pressure, because the signs are that Nardiello is the type who falls apart sometimes under pressure temperamentally.
Yes, but with this sort of pressure, Nardiello could just box like this all night.
Exactly. He doesn't seem capable at the moment of doing that, does he, Malinga? And we've seen him box a few times. He just doesn't seem to have that kind of style. One or 2 restive jeers from the big crowd here. And 1 or 2 slow hand claps as well. And frankly, you can't blame them. But I must say, just looking at this fight in prospect and assessing the 2 styles, I can't say I'm absolutely amazed by what I'm watching.
No, you can't. Seeing the sort of fighter Nardiello is, you've got to expect with Malinga, who's a boxer, this type of fight. I think not a great matchup from the South African camp, really.
Good right to the body and then a right to the head. That's better from Malinga, who seems to be responding to the jeers and wants to put up a better type of show. Well, they're not exactly bringing the house down at the moment, are they?
They're not. I think a poor round again, and the crowd are getting very restless. They want to see much more of a fight here. It's a world title fight at stake, and these men are just treating it a little bit like a sparring session. Malinga, if he wants to keep his world title, he's got to pick the pace up a lot more. He's got to show a bit of devil here. He wants to gain the respect of the crowd and keep his title.
Now, this is what they've really come to see here tonight, and we'll have it coming up for you. Steve Collins and Nigel Benn, and I promise you that will be 10 times as good a fight as this one. It could go down as a very memorable one, the domestic clash of the year so far. Now, what is Sugarboy Malinga going to do about this? Because wouldn't it be a horrible way, having had such a memorable victory over Nigel Benn, to lose his title in a scrappy kind of styles clash horror story like this?
Yes, well, if he is the champion, if he's going to be respected as that, he's got to overcome opponents like this. This is what the game is all about. He's got to be able to get to negative fighters and wear them down. So, if he's the champion he thinks he is, he's got to be able to get to Nardiello.
And scorecard has Nardiello ahead by a couple of rounds, but just seemed to be doing slightly the more effective work earlier on.
A couple of rounds with not a great deal of punches.
Malinga has to start finding some answers. Otherwise, he could find that hard-won World Championship of his slipping away from him. There's Nardiello with the left hand. The two of them, I think, have been spurred by the crowd's jeers to produce a bit more. They can do it if they try.
Nardiello, time and time again, just picking that jab. It's just coming out slowly. Nardiello just parrying it away with his own right hand.
No real evil or devil in Malinga's work. He's just poking out that jab, and it's not much more than a rangefinder.
Well, he's finding it very difficult to get into distance, but just managed for a second there.
A bit more like it. Malinga may have to find he needs to gamble a wee bit more, charge in and try. I know it's not his style to just break Nardiello up and get brawl with him a little. Oh, that was a low one from Malinga. Watch that, says Nicky Van.
And Nardiello will always make a meal of it if he can.
He really could have had a role in the Royal Academy of Dramatic Arts with Nardiello. Make a drama out of any crisis. It's a bit better from Malinga in this round. He's starting to let those right hands go a bit more.
The corner keeps signaling to Malinga to throw that right hand more and more. I'm surprised it took him that long to really realize he's got to throw the right hand. He's got to try and come back with left hooks as well.
So, 6 rounds gone, and we'll give Barry McGuigan a little wake-up call and ask him what he's thinking of it so far. Barry.
It's just a classic example of different styles making different fights. This guy suited Nigel Ben because Nigel was a great attacking fighter, and yet Malinga was able to outbox Nigel. He's finding it difficult because it's not easy to jab a southpaw. He needs to walk up on top of him, pressurize him. The crowd are getting a bit impatient here, but to spur these guys on to a little bit of action here. And Malinga just needs to force the fight more. He needs to back Nardiello up, and you'll find that he'll lose interest very quickly. But I still have Nardiello in the slight lead.
Welcome back. Nicky Van, the referee, has just told the judges that he felt Nardiello was slacking a wee bit with his punches towards the end of that last round. Possibly with a view to that being reflected in the scoring. 7th round. Nardiello, the Italian from Rome, in the black trunks. South African Sugarboy Malinga. Mind you, he is a fighter that's hard to look good against, Nardiello, but he's beginning to step it up in this round. Getting through with some left hands. His third and almost certainly last chance to become a world champion, you would think, Nardiello. But some people are a bit surprised that he's got this opportunity. Was a wee bit myself, having lost to Wharton, but the ways of boxing logic are sometimes hard to explain, let alone follow.
If you would think he wouldn't get the chance losing to Bay and losing to Wharton, but he's in here and he's certainly doing enough to probably just have a slight lead.
This is the 7th round. Just tuned in. Nigel Benn against Steve Collins comes up right after this.
labouring out that jab, Malinga, falling short, and Nardiello just carrying it away. Very ineffective with the jab, Malinga. He's got to change styles, got to try something different.
Very uninspired defence of the title, this from Malinga. We were full of praise for him when Andy beat Nigel Benn, but here he just doesn't seem to be finding any kind of answers to the puzzle in front of him. It's not as if Nardiello's been thrown in as a style change with about a day to go or something like that. He's known for months he's fighting Nardiello.
Yes, you would have thought they would have done their homework, watched the videos, and plenty about on Nardiello, and would have worked their whole boxing game plan to suit that, but they haven't done that.
Nardiello complaining that he was rabbit punched. With a left hook to the body, or left cross to the body, I should say. Nardiello. Well, I think the Italian again just did that wee bit more in that round. Early in the round, is that right? Welcome back to a jam-packed full Nynex Arena in Manchester. Something like 20,000 fans in this arena tonight, which has been modelled on the Thomas & Mack Centre in Las Vegas, which has staged a few big fights, notably that memorable one, the first one between Riddick Bowe and Evander Holyfield. This looks very, very similar, and gratifying to see how many tickets they've sold. 8th round, Sugarboy Malinga struggling here to defend his WBC super middleweight title against the Italian Vincenzo Nardiello, who's not doing anything too special, but hasn't had to.
Yes, I think it'll be 20,000 very restless fans watching this performance from Malinga. He just can't up his work rate, having a great deal of skill. He's a very experienced fighter, but just can't put the pressure on Nardiello that he needs to.
Now, can one fighter take this battle by the scruff of the neck and show that he really wants this title? Nardiello fighting in the city where his country's Euro 96 dream died, down the road at Old Trafford. New fella from Malinga getting through with the right hand.
Yes, there was decent timing his right hand a little better in this round. Just starting to get into range with that punch.
Well, 8th round, and you have to say that the fight is still there, very much for the winning by either of them. If one can take control in any significant way. But basically, this underlines the point that has been made so often, that if the styles don't gel, and these two don't, you kind of get a dull fight.
That's right, these styles don't gel. You've got an awkward southpaw who's very much a negative type fighter against a counter-punching Malinga who wants somebody to come to him. And if the styles are not gelling, he's having difficulty with the southpaw stance and also the speed of Nardiello.
Shouts of "get on with it" from the crowd behind us.
I think the crowd are looking forward to something rather different from Nigel Benn and Steve Collins.
Don't think they'll sell too many copies of the video of this one afterwards somehow.
I'd be surprised if either camp wants a copy.
as the bell goes to end the round. Well, we've got a much better fight coming up for you. Nigel Benn against Steve Collins. Who's going to win it? Well, even the journalists who cover the sport day in, day out can't make up their mind.
It's going to be a tough fight, and I think Nigel might just shade it with a very good performance.
I think Steve Collins will win. He's fit, he's fast, he's younger, he's fitter. I just think there's one more big night left in the dark draw. I think it'll be a split decision.
I fancy Nigel Benn will be too powerful, too strong, and too purposeful for Steve Collins this weekend.
Looking at Steve's track record, he's going to be too big, too strong, and I think in the end he's going to wear him down, probably stop him around the ninth round.
Well, there's a variety of opinions there. Steve Collins will start as the favourite with the bookmakers to win tonight. He is on a bit of a roll at the moment. Remember, he retired Chris Eubank. Will he put Nigel Benn into permanent retirement? Ninth round of 12 for the WBC Super Middleweight Championship. A fight that certainly will not get in your top 3,000 of all time. Sugarboy Malinga, the champion, in the white trunks from the new South Africa. And Vincenzo Nardiello, the 30-year-old Italian. His scorecard with Nardiello a point ahead at this stage. And Nick Durant, son of the old Wolves footballer Cliff Durant, is in the Malinga corner. And I'm sure he's been trying to tell Malinga that he's got to do more.
Yes, he's really got to pick it up. He's doing a little more this now, just starting to push forward. Nardiello's just come down off his toes a little bit.
Well, down goes Nardiello. Body shot, I think it was. Delayed action. I think he's claiming he was hit a bit low, but there was a count. I think there was a low blow in there. Now then, something maybe for Malinga to build on. The count didn't go to 8, so I don't think that was counted as a knockdown.
No, I don't think so. I think he saw there was a Nardiello was complaining a low blow, and that's why he went down. I think Malinga's getting a little bit of confidence from this. Now he's starting to push forward, trying to make more of a fight of it.
That somehow lifted Malinga. He's getting a busier now, which is what he needed to do a long time ago. That's better from Malinga. Good body shot from him that time. It's a sign again that Nardiello will give out these distress signals. Any time he's put under pressure, there's another low blow from Malinga. He's in danger here of having a point deducted. There's another low blow, and he is getting a point deducted this time. The first time Nardiello went down from the low blow, the count did begin from the timekeeper, but then was called off when Mickey Van, amid the confusion, made it clear that it was a low blow. That time it was another low blow, and that's a point off from Malinga, as if he doesn't have enough problems in the fight.
He's just getting a little bit of success, Malinga. Just got a little bit over anxious and had a couple stray low. But he's got to try and do something different now. He's very one-paced, labouring with the jab, got to pick up his work rate.
It's a shame for him, really, because I think he's been doing the better work in this round, Malinga, but now, of course, with the point deduction, that will be nullified. This is a bit better for Malinga in this round. He's at least trying to take it to Nardiello a bit more.
There's a lot more negative from Nardiello.
Repertoire of theatrical gestures at the end of the round. Quite what they all meant, I couldn't begin to explain. Any guesses, Glenn?
You never know with Nardiello. Very strange temperament. Very theatrical in the corner of Nardiello. They're very angry. They're reading the riot act to him.
Now here's the first of the low blows. thought it was a body punch at the time, and looking at that, I think it was a body punch.
Certainly was. That was right, just lower chest. That one was definitely low, but the first one...
That was the second one I think we're looking at here.
Yes, the first one that we saw was not low. That one was.
It was a body shot, and he did go down from it, but it only adds to the general unsatisfactory nature of the contest here. 10th round. But a world title is on the line here. Last round I had Malinga winning the round, but then he had a point deducted, so you'd have to have scored it even.
Yes, but it was better work from Malinga. He was starting to pick it up. Nardiello just slowing down a bit. Still got Nardiello in that slight advantage. With Malinga, he's got something to do now if he wants to hang on to the title.
I suppose you have to pose the question too as well, Glenn. The way Nardiello has fought here, has he done enough really to take a world title away from a champion?
Well, certainly it's been a very negative performance this far. And you would hate to think a champion lost his title like that. But Malinga, it's his fault. He's the one, he's the champion. He's got to pick his work rate up.
See, the thing is, fights aren't scored as entities like that. They're scored on a round-by-round basis, and if the scoring works out that Nardiello's in the fight,
that's fine.
But it would be a bit of a crime, really. It's up to Malinga to go out and make sure of things. He's doing more now. He's starting to let the right hand flow. Just step in a little, having thrown the jab.
He's very, very wild with the left hook, Malinga. Nardiello back to his boxing. Giving angles, but still he's throwing his jab. He's out of range, Nardiello. Malinga lands with the right hand.
Fighting in flurries, but now Malinga is starting to have his success with the right hand. And in these closing stages of the fight, he is doing significantly more. It's a bit more like it from Malinga. Only a bit. Those flurries from Nardiello nearly all hitting the high-held gloves of Malinga. Malinga just boxed his ears then. That's what Mickey Van didn't like. The inside of the glove. There's a lot of cheering going around the arena at this stage. It's a Mexican wave. That's a sure sign that the crowd are pretty bored by what they're seeing in the ring.
They're trying to entertain themselves.
Normally I'm no fan of the Mexican wave, but it's almost understandable in the circumstances. Meanwhile, backstage, Steve Collins, there he is with Freddie Roach, his American trainer. Such a hard, strong man who's never been stopped in his whole career. The brawling, marauding Collins, or will it be the counter-punching Collins of old tonight? His strategy for this fight will be fascinating to see. Coming up next, Collins defending his title against Nigel Benn, which is an appetizing prospect.
This is shown there on the pass. He's looking to block the punches from Nigel Benn, the wide swings with his elbows, and then the sharp little punches inside.
Round 11, he starts with Nardiello's gun shield coming out. There's always something happening around Nardiello. Now he's ready, and we can get on with the last couple of rounds of the contest. crowd are whipping up their own frenzy. But it's nothing to do with what they've seen in the ring. But I think they are getting excited about the imminent Collins-Ben fight.
Again, Nardiello just playing away with punches there, but nothing really connecting, no scoring points.
I'm sure the fighters don't know what all the noise is about.
Well, you would think that the commotion from the crowd entertain themselves would spur the fighters on a little bit, but it hasn't so far.
Malinga's just picked it up a wee bit from about the 8th round on. And if he can keep this going, it may just be enough for him to hold on to his crown. Again, boxing of the ears by Malinga. There, 2-3 times. And Malinga needs to be careful. He's already had a point deducted for the low blow. Almost a football crowd style atmosphere here. I'm sure these two don't think they're in a thriller.
The atmosphere is tremendous, but the fight is rather poor.
It's better in this round, though. Nardiello with a right hand, just lost his balance momentarily, was Malinga. Don't think he was badly shaken up by it. It looked a bit of an inside of the glove slap, to be honest with you, by Nardiello. His own abdominal protector has now come completely out of place, Nardiello. Loose at the back. And now Malinga has decided he will have a brawl with Nardiello. I think they both sense that in this disappointing fight it is still there to be won later on.
I think that's what's making the fighters to go a little harder in this round, although it's still very scrappy work and very difficult to score.
Now then, what was going on during the round? There we are. There's a Mexican wave that was spreading around the Nynex arena. For those of you who like that kind of thing. Oh, Malinga has had 9 points wins over 12 rounds in his career. Nardiello just a couple. Now Malinga has lost 5 on points. Nardiello, all his 5 losses have been by stoppage. And they've all been in championship fights as well. Some of the goals Chi. And his dad's usually around in the corner as well. Then scorecard has the fight level going into the last round. I've got Malinga just a little ahead now.
Yes, well, I think it's been rather an unsatisfactory fight. Very difficult to score cleanly. There's been no good points in either fighter's favour. So, it could all depend on a decent last round.
See what happens. I think Malinga really now will just take the view that if he can somehow get through this experience with his world title at stake, he'll be a happy man. Don't do that, says Nicky Van, that rabbit punching to Nardiello. Turns out that Malinga might have been a bit unlucky to have that point deducted, because the first time there was an alleged low blow, it did look like an authentic body punch. And then he had the low blow, the point deducted for the second one. Of course, there's the possibility that that may be decisive in deciding the fight, that point off for the low blow.
Well, that was better for Malinga now, just trying to use that long right hand, which he should have used a lot more in this fight. See, at no point has managed to put his punches together, Malinga. And his timing just hasn't been there against a very awkward and difficult opponent in Nardiello.
just don't think Nardiello really deserves to win a world title in a fight as poor and with a performance as basically negative as this.
Yes, it's been very negative, but that is Nardiello's style. He's done what he thought he's had to do to win the fight. And if he thinks he's just going to try and steal it from Malinga, that's what he set out to do.
Remember, Nardiello has never lost on points.
Malinga just having the better in this round, just trying to get the center of the ring, trying to keep pushing that jab out and just keep working to Nardiello. This is something this is something that's going to live long in anybody's memory. A very, very poor fight.
The only slightly redeeming feature has been that the last 3 rounds at least have produced some action. Nothing very clean, but certainly better than the phony war of a fight that we were witnessing previously. Clock running down. There it goes. They both raise their arms. Oh, Nardiello, look at that gesture. Believes he's won the WBC Super Middleweight Championship, or has he? It really was a desperately disappointing affair. Then scorecard giving it to Malinga by 1 point. I've got it by 2 points to Malinga, even with the point deduction. Nardiello is yet to win a championship fight in England. Just a wee bit of facial damage. Scorecards. John Keane, the British official, a Mexican judge, and one from Luxembourg doing the scoring here. I don't envy them their task, really. Some of those early rounds were close to being 0-0 draws. A fight that will live in the memory about as long as it takes to get to Manchester Piccadilly Station.
Not quite that long, I don't think. I forgot it already. That was a very poor fight. Malinga seems to think he's won. He's got a very broad smile on his face, but really if he wants to get in bigger fights than that, he's got to perform a lot better.
Well, Frank Warren's problem, and with the cut that Nardiello developed late on there by the left eye, Frank Warren's problem, because this is supposed to be a semi-final. The winner of this is supposed to fight the winner of Collins and Ben. Sure. They've done a very good sales pitch, have they?
Wasn't a very good advertisement for a possible unification fight, was it? And I don't think it's going to be a great ticket seller.
Does anybody want to see, say, Ben Nardiello again? Probably not. Wasn't great the first time. Malinga thinks he's won the fight, unless he's got some kind of advanced information. Nardiello is watching the collation of the scorecards. Oh, I think well, Nardiello is already making protest noises, so I don't know whether he's got word that he's lost the fight. Malinga is looking happy, but he always looks pretty happy when he's not fighting. Nice man. He's got 16-year-old twin daughters, Sugarboy Malinga. He's been around along, doesn't look old enough, does he?
He doesn't, but we know Malinga's a better fighter than was shown tonight. I think the style of Nardiello really nullified any good work that Malinga could have done. We saw him box so well against Ben.
Well, the way Nardiello is shaking his head, it looks like a bit of a foregone conclusion that this has gone to Malinga, but we need the confirmation, which we're about to get, I think. Here we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a split decision. Judge John Keane scores the contest 116-112 in favour of Nardiello. Judge Miguel Acuna scores the contest 114 to 112 in favour of the winner and new
Nardiello has won it. Vincenzo Nardiello wins the WBC Super Middleweight Championship.
Well, there's a very, very pleased man. But was it a performance that should be worthy of a world title win? I would have to say it wasn't. A very poor performance.
Well, we can't deny the man his moment of glory. It's his third world title champ that he's won. But Sugarboy Malinga really, having worked so hard all through his career to become a world champion and done it so gloriously against Nigel Benn, has let him slip away in a fight as bad as that. Nardiello is the new champion, and in theory, Nardiello will fight the winner of Benn and Collins. In theory, anyway.
We had him down as a talented, awkward, temperamental fighter who'd always failed on the big occasion. Well, he's technically succeeded here tonight. He's gone home as the new WBC World Super Middleweight champion. But has he impressed us? Well, Barry McGuigan, your mission, should you choose to accept tonight, is to say something positive about that fight.
Yes, well, I think it wasn't the most attractive fight to watch. It was only livened up really in the last 3 rounds, but in my opinion, it was a terrible way to take the title of Malinga. I thought Malinga deserved to win, only just for a terribly negative performance by him, and it really showed his limitations. He can fight going back, but he can't fight going forward. And as we know, these decisions can be very subjective, and it proved again tonight that we thought the guy that was going to lose won.
Jim, your thoughts on that?
Well, I totally blame Malinga for surrendering his title. Nardiello didn't win it. He never comes to win anything. He didn't come to win that title tonight. Malinga surrendered it. He didn't get down to serious work until the 9th round. You cannot do that in a 12-round fight. Then losing the point, I think, obviously, just whatever chance he had of hanging on to it, which just disappeared. It was a terrible performance from a real good professional. He'll be sorely disappointed when he watches a recording of this fight.
Sugarboy Malinga was a hero, about 3 months ago, live on Big Time Boxing on Sky Sports. Sadly, not such a happy outcome for him tonight. The last time we saw him, he beat Nigel Benn, and that put him